Well, hey, folks, and welcome once again to the Morse 2025 Adventures, day 27 on August the 8th. And an adventure today was uh, short night. I don't know what's really going on. Neither one of us slept very well. And then Chrissy got up at 4 and started preparing for breakfast this morning. Not our breakfast, well, our breakfast, but the whole group's breakfast. Uh, today was sausage biscuits and gravy, and our biscuits and sausage gravy, excuse me. And of course, Chrissy, what is it, Mama? A quart and a half crock pot? I mean, a gallon and a half crock pot? 5 quarts?
Yeah.
5 quart crock pot she made of sausage gravy this morning. So she had to fix the gravy, or the sausage first, and then, whatever. And went down there and cooked the biscuits and down there and long day. Long day. And then this afternoon, we had to prepare for tonight's cookout. We cooked the bratwurst. Somebody else cooked hamburgers. Chrissy made a potato salad. I made a half a quart of blackberry ice cream and a half a quart of peach ice cream. So, needless to say, folks, it was an adventure. Not totally bad, just busy, tiresome. But we did. In order to make the peach ice cream, we had to go to the farmer's market, which is like maybe a half a mile from here. All right, less than a mile for sure. And got some fresh peaches from right here in the local orchards. So we had some good peaches and of course other people brought fixings. But Chrissy made potato salad and cooked the bratwurst. Somebody else macaroni salad. Somebody else baked beans. Somebody else cheese, lettuce, tomatoes, all that kind. Folks, if you left hungry, it's your own fault. That's all I just say about that. Okay. Excuse me. And I'm tired. Okay. Uh, Tomorrow, we have again breakfast, and then again. Now, the thing about tomorrow and today, the difference is today we had things to do today to prepare for tonight. Being the wagon master slash host, etc. Tomorrow after breakfast, we're done until Sunday morning breakfast. Okay? Tomorrow, everybody goes out to eat. That's one thing I do have to call. Even though this place does not take reservations, I need to call and let them know that we're going to have a party of about 14 or 16 people there. So they'll be prepared for when we show up. Other than that, hey, this place is a nice place. You know, Asheville is a thriving city, small city, but a city. Uh, University of North Carolina Asheville campus is here. Of course, they had Helene through here with the floods and all that, and then they had forest fires uh, earlier this year here. So they've had their troubles this area, and then uh, you know some of the other issues uh, that you have with city life you have here, be it you know drug and alcohol, lifestyles, the whole 9 yards. Asheville's no different than anybody else. It's just a smaller scale, but it's here. You know. So having said all that, uh, we still have enjoyed ourselves. Some people were talking today at supper that you know they went sightseeing and did things today while me and Chrissy were working, but that's all right. Tomorrow we're going to be doing that. Um, but that's basically it for ours today. There's only I thought I was going to take pictures this evening. people grilling and, eating and playing games tonight, you know. But I got 3 pictures. Okay, that's all I got taken today. So it is what it is. But speaking of is what it is, let's go ahead and get into the good stuff. All right. I mean, really. Excuse me. Today's scripture, folks, it comes from Matthew 16:24. Excuse me. And then Jesus said to his disciples, "If anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me." Now, we talked about this scripture a few months back. And you have to realize that what he's saying here is, if anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. Take up his cross. All right. When individuals in this time period were condemned to death by crucifixion, they had to carry their cross to at least part of their, part of the way to their place of execution. That means they had to carry the burden of what they did. All right. And what he is saying here is not to literally take up your cross and die, but that is what the disciples, all of them died, were martyrs, uh, you know. But if anyone desires to come up to me, let him deny himself. In other words, you put your will, your desires, your goals off the side and focus on what God's will is. All right? Follow Christ, because that's what he was doing. He was following God's will. All right? Now, his will was in line with God's will. So, that's why he's saying, if you follow me, you got to deny yourself, pick up your cross, and follow me. You have to the other things, the earthly things that you have, that you desire, that you work hard to get. And let me be plain as I can on this, okay? And it's just remember now, I don't have a PhD in theology, okay? God knows the desires of your heart. And as long as you are in the will of God, God is going to provide you with what you need. Okay? Did you hear what I said? He knows the desires of your heart. And as long as you are in his will, he's going to provide what you need. That thing that you may desire to have may not be the best thing for you, and God knows better. Okay? God knows better. That's all I can say about that. So that's what it said. If anyone desires to come up to me, let him deny himself. In other words, deny those things that will get in your way. Pick up your cross. In other words, pick up your burden, because that's, he's being, I can't remember the word right now, but it's not literally picking up your cross, although some of the disciples did, okay? But it's pick up those burdens, take up his cross, pick up his burdens, his trials, his tribulations, and give them to God and follow him, okay? And follow me, all right? Let him deny himself, pick up his cross, pick up your burdens, give them to me, and follow me. My shoulders are bigger than your shoulders, is what he's saying. I can handle your load and my, your problems and my problems I can handle. Deny yourself, okay? Now just focus on God's will Don't worry about your burdens. Pick them up, give them to me, and follow me, because I will give you rest. And that's, that's not this scripture, but that's another scripture. It talks about the same thing. Follow me, and I will give you rest. Those who are weary and heavy laden, you know, come unto me, and I will give you rest. Take up his cross and follow me. You know, and this comes right after Peter's arrogance in saying that, when Christ is telling him, that, you're gonna deny me. You're you, Peter, of all people, are going to deny me before the rooster crows 3 times. Or in the morning, you will have denied me 3 times. All right. And Peter says, "Oh no, I won't do that. Lord, you're the Lord, Lord, Lord." And and then he says, "Satan, get behind me." He's not saying Peter, get behind me, but he's saying that arrogance, that loss of focus that Peter's having. He knows that Satan getting in his way, blurring his vision. He's saying, "Get behind me." All right, that's what he's talking about. So Peter can be focused on what he says. And right after that, he says, okay, well, then he turned to Peter and said, "Get behind me, Satan. You are an offense to me. You are not mindful of the things of God and the things of man, but of the things of man." Then he turned to the disciples and says, "If anyone desires me, let him, deny himself, pick up his cross, and follow me." So this is that passage right there where he's just chastised, rebuked Peter for his arrogance. And then he says, "Look, if you want to follow me, deny yourself, all those desires that you have, and focus, pick up your burden, give it to me, and focus on me. Follow me, and I will give you what you need." That's what he's talking about. Okay? And sometimes we as Christians get all wrapped up in everything that's going on around us that we forget our purpose as being Christians. Okay? Christian, meaning Christ-like, a follower of Christ. If we're worried about our own stuff and our own trials and tribulations, how can we focus and follow Christ? And that's what he's saying. Deny yourself, put that garbage out of the way, pick up your burden, let me have it, and follow me. Stay focused on me. That's what he's saying here. Okay? That's what he's saying. And a lot of times, folks, we will get wrapped up in our own self. Okay? We will get wrapped up in